Hello and welcome to SGPN's A Daily Dog. I'm your host, Britton Hess. I'm here with my favorite Underdog fantasy pick'em plays for Wednesday. I believe it's Wednesday. No, is it Tuesday? No, it's Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025. Just around the corner from the 4th of July, we're going to be slim pickings on sports. We're going to start getting into some future stuff here. Got some NFL season entries already in pocket that I'll give out at the end of the show today. Obviously, we got our normal MLB. We got some Wimbledon entries, but outside of that, no WNBA today. I didn't want to go ahead of the curve and put in a Thursday entry quite yet. And then soccer, we're down for a couple days with the FIFA Club World Cup. So let's stick to the bread and butter. Let's stick to baseball. Let's win, because yesterday we had so many entries canceled just due to the weather. 3 games rained out. Double headers today makes things confusing. When putting in entries, you got to make sure it's the right matchup, pitcher, batter, and that kind of thing. But that being said, I am ready to roll here. So if you're new to Underdog Fantasy, sign up with the promo code DailyDog, DAILYDOG, at UnderdogFantasy.com or in the Underdog Fantasy app. Get a 50% deposit match bonus with up to $1,000. All right, let's start out. MLB entry number 1, Brandon Lowe, higher than 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Brandon Lowe, obviously very good player for the for the Rays. Sorry, I can't speak. I was just thinking about, am I pronouncing Brandon Lowe's last name right? There's a Lowe, there's Lowe, there's Nathaniel Lowe, there's all these people with the same last name, but one of them I think pronounces a little different. I just forget which one at this current moment. So Brandon Lowe, higher than 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs against Mitch Spence and the A's. The pitchers for the A's have been okay lately, but Mitch Spence isn't exactly one that I'm too worried about. He's been fairly solid from an earned run perspective in the starter role lately. But I still don't necessarily think it's going to hold up very long versus a pitcher like Brandon Lowe. Then I'm going to pair that with Isaac Paredes, higher than 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs for the Astros as they take on Austin Gomber, the lefty, in Coors Field. It's going to be a hit-a-palooza, you would think, for the Astros in this game. They have Hunter Brown on the bump. Hunter Brown should be good, but Rockies, Austin Gomber, not a guy that I'm worried about. So I think Paredes probably batting leadoff in this game. Higher than 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs should be fairly safe. That is a 3.54x multiplier for Lowe, Brandon Lowe, higher than 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Same pick for Isaac Paredes of the Astros, 3.54x. MLB entry number 2, Bryan Reynolds, higher than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs against Sonny Gray and the Cardinals. It's an early game starting at 12:35 Eastern, so make sure you get this thing in early. Sonny Gray, obviously very good pitcher, but Bryan Reynolds is hitting 292 against him. That's better than his career average. He's got 3 homers. He's got 2 doubles. He has been just fine in this matchup, so I'm going to be targeting him here as this Pirates team, I don't know, keeps on finding ways to win games. They're waking up all of a sudden. Yesterday was a low-scoring game, but I think that there could potentially be some more action here. Obviously, Gray is going to be the favorite in this matchup against Mitch Keller, but I do think Bryan Reynolds is a guy we can target. Then we're going to go with Byron Buxton, higher than 1.5 total bases. I like big bucks. Buxton is a guy that you can probably make this entry versus any pitcher, but Jansen junk, it doesn't necessarily stay in the game that long, so that helps get into the Marlins pen. And also, Jansen junk is not necessarily a proven commodity at this point. So 3x multiplier on that one. MLB entry number 3, Aaron Judge, higher than 1.5 total bases. Had it yesterday. Going to have it again here. We are going to go with the Yankees, man, the greatest player in the AL for sure, against the Blue Jays. Jose Barrios on the bump for the Blue Jays, and Aaron Judge has seen him plenty. So higher than 1.5 total bases there. Zach Neto, higher than 7.5 fantasy points, leadoff man for the Angels against the Braves. Angels right now are straight up a better team than the Braves, just in the record, in their performance all around. And then Yusei Kikuchi versus Didier Fuentes. That is also going to be a advantage for. That is also going to be an advantage for the Angels. So give me Zach Neto higher than 7.5 fantasy points. Didier Fuentes just not been that good in his first 2 starts. He's only 20 years old, a lot of time to develop, but rough go so far. And I don't necessarily think that Neto, as his first batter faced, is going to help him at all. 3x multiplier with Judge, higher than 1.5 total bases. Neto higher than 7.5 fantasy points. MLB number 4, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., higher than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Can't believe we're getting a flat multiplier here against Will Warren, and the Yankees don't love Will Warren at all. I do love Vladdy in basically any matchup. Pairing that with Jake Meyers, higher than 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Another Astro facing off Gomber, another righty, and a guy who's faced Gomber before. So give me Jake Meyers higher than 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs here. 3x multiplier. Pitchers entry number 1. We're going to go with Tomoyuki, Sugano, and Nathan Eovaldi, lower than 0.5 first inning runs allowed. I think that they can get out of the first inning for sure. I mean, it's just the Orioles and the Rangers offenses don't trust them at all, and I think these pitchers are good for 3 outs each. Then Yusei Kikuchi and Didier Fuentes, higher than 0.5 first inning runs allowed. I think that there's going to be a home run hit in this first inning, probably by an Angel, but it wouldn't shock me if Kikuchi gave up one as well. Obviously, he's a strikeout guy. When he misses, people hit the ball out of the yard. So 3x multiplier on that with Sugano, Eovaldi, lower 0.5 first inning runs allowed. Kikuchi, Fuentes, higher 0.5 first inning runs allowed. Pitchers entry number 2, Simeon, Woods, Richardson, and Jansen, Junk, lower than 0.5 first inning runs allowed. I think they are going to get out of that first inning clean. I think Junk is good. He's good for 3-6 outs, something like that, but it could get hairy after that. Woods, Richardson, similar story. He's a guy that just doesn't go very long because he starts getting hit, about 4th, 5th inning. So I think that they were going to get out of the first inning clean in that Twins Marlins game, and then Sean Burke versus Clayton Kershaw in the White Sox against Dodgers, higher than 0.5 first inning runs allowed. Again, I think there is a good chance that there is a home run here. There's Slater's actually seen Kershaw a lot, a guy on the White Sox, and also I think Burke is going to be at risk of giving up a homer in the first inning. 3x multiplier on that with no first inning runs in the Twins against Marlins. Yes, first inning run in White Sox against the Dodgers. 3x multiplier. Wimbledon number 1. Christian Guerrero, lower than 1.5 sets, 1 versus Arthur Rinderknecht. Rinderknecht is just going to be what is much better suited to play on grass. He just beat Alexander Zverev in a 2-day long match that had to go overnight. But really impressive for him. I think that he'll be fine versus Guerrero. Guerrero's actually not a bad grass player. South Americans usually think they specialize in clay, but Guerrero's not a bad grass player. He's just been so inactive. He's been so hurt. He got back, he got a lucky loser spot out of qualies. I think Rinderknecht can win this thing 3-1 or 3-0 very easily. Taylor Fritz, higher than 42.5 games played versus Gabriel Diallo is the next one. 2 serving dynamos. I think that this thing is going to have lots of tie breaks, and I think we're going to go 5 sets here. These two guys are very good right now. Fritz is more experienced, obviously, but Diallo is peaking at the right time. 3.27x multiplier on those 2 tennis picks. In Wimbledon entry number 2, Alexandra Sasnovich, lower than 6.5 games, 1 versus Alina Svitolina. Svitolina on this surface in this venue, much more comfortable. I think she's going to roll through her 6-3, 6-3, 6-2, 6-1, something like that. I think Svitolina is going to have a good day. Solana Sierra, lower than 8.5 games, 1 against Katie Bolter. Bolter, again, she kind of plays with her food sometimes and goes 3 sets, but literally there's a world where Bolter loses 6-4 and then wins 6-1, 6-1. I mean, I'm not even joking. Bolter is that type of momentum-based player, but I also think her winning in clean straight sets is very, very possible as well against Solana Sierra. That's a 3x multiplier. Lotto entry number 1, Nick Kurtz, higher than 2.5 total bases against Ryan Pepio. Kurtz is just, he's peaking at the right time. That's what I will say. Bryan Reynolds, higher than 0.5 RBIs. I've been using Bryan Reynolds today in that matchup. And then Jose Ramirez, higher than 0.5 stolen bases against Shota Imanaga. Maybe not the easiest guy to do it against, but at least for Jose. But Jose is a sneaky guy. You get good odds on him stealing bases, and he's actually pretty good at it. 48.35x multiplier, 24.17x, or 5.3x if you flex it, and he goes 2 out of 3. You got to flex those. We hit our flex on the lotto yesterday. Dong Squad number 1, Cal Raleigh, higher than 0.5 home runs. Agustin Ramirez, higher than 0.5 home runs. Michael Conforto, higher than 0.5 home runs. 88.69x, very nice, or 44.34x/9.34x if it goes 2 out of 3 on the flex. Dong Squad number 2, Christian Walker, higher than 0.5 home runs. He's hit Gomber well. He used to be in this division. Bryan Reynolds, higher than 0.5 home runs. Bryan Reynolds is getting the triple crown on 3 different entries today. Max Kepler, higher than 0.5 home runs. He was robbed of one the other day if you didn't see that, but he is seeing the ball very well right now. 137.54x, flex it. 68.77x if it goes 3 out of 3. 12.32x if it goes 2 out of 3. I really, really like this Dong Squad. NFL season. Quickly going to give you some of these. I'm a little Steelers biased. I know that, but I'm going Aaron Rodgers higher than 0.5 games or playoff games started. That means the Steelers are going to get to the playoffs and Aaron Rodgers is going to start a game. I think the Steelers are going to make the playoffs because the Steelers always make the playoffs. They're usually not very good in the playoffs, but they make it every single time. I know they play in a tough division. Guess what? They navigate this division every year. This is what they do. Cam Scatabo, higher than 3.5 rushing TDs for the Giants. There's a little bit of a logjam right now for the running back in the running back room in New York. Obviously, Tyrone Tracy looks good. There's a couple other guys that have been around the league, Devin Singletary as well, but I think Scatabo is going to have a real role around the red zone for this team. So higher than 3.5 rushing touchdowns for Scatabo. He's literally built to be that, old school pounder between the tackles. When they know they're giving him the ball, he knows how to deal with that. 3.75x multiplier on that one. And then one more NFL season entry. Caleb Johnson, another Steeler, higher than 849.5 rushing yards. He fits what the offense wants to do offensively so much better than Najee Harris did. No offense to Najee, like Najee, good guy, but what Caleb Johnson did in college when they knew he was getting the ball every single time was nothing short of outstanding. Najee Harris coming out comparatively. Najee Harris played on Bama. There was a lot to worry about for defenses, and he just never really knew how to make something out of nothing. I think Caleb Johnson is going to have a huge year. T. Higgins, higher than 7.5 TDs in this season for the Bengals. He had 10 last year in 12 games. I think that he got paid. He's happy. Higher than 7.5 TDs for T. Higgins. 3x multiplier. All right, that's all I got for you today. Good luck on your entries, and let's make some money.